And we are live. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show, everybody. Wednesday, September 4th. I am Josh Engleman, and I am here to break this slate down. 10 games tonight. We're locking at 7-10. Looks a little bit better than yesterday, although I ended up finishing 8th yesterday. A little frustrating. That lineup that finished 8th had a 0 in it, which always stings, but you're never going to be mad about finishing 8th. That's for sure. I can show you guys right here. So, there we go. This is the post-contest simulation tool on Stochastic. Can make that a little bit bigger for you guys. And as you can see, I am right here in the 8th spot, duped up by Brownstown, I believe. Sale and Detmers. You got the Philly piece. The Kyle Schwarber piece, who dropped 50 yesterday and hit 3 ding-dongs. We looked at that on Odds Shopper Live. I liked him to homer. I didn't like the line. Needed a little bit more value. Boy, did that not work out. Every other home run bet I put in yesterday lost. But boy, Schwarber had no problem putting a bunch in the cheap seats. But this is where I ended up yesterday. I ended up slotting it into the 8th spot. I didn't look at my overall. Oh, 6. I'll take it. It's all anytime. Oh, didn't want to do that. Anytime that I can see myself neutral or even, mildly positive, it's a giant win for me because I'm so ridiculous in my ego that my goal is to do everything on my own with no help. So when I can be independent of the other data, I feel pretty good about it. 6 ROI, that's 2, 4, 6. Shout out to Jake, by the way, coming in the 5 spot. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, I don't know, like 18th, 20th, something like that in ROI. Lots more bad ones at the bottom. That's a dub, guys. That's a dub. You guys can check this every day if you have these Stochastic tools. You could hop in and find out how you did. If you guys wanted me to check out like a lineup that you played, we could retroactively go back and see what the best stuff is that got played. Something really good got played yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was a Millie. There was a Millie yesterday. It's this contest right here. Gee, I wonder what's at the top. Oh, is that Coach S winning a Millie for the second time in like 2 weeks? Shout out Stochastic, by the way. Check it out on Twitter. Coach S putting himself in a second Millie. I think it was like 10 days ago, 11 days ago, something like this. Friend of the program for sure. Uses the Stochastic information. Coach S picked up the Millie last night. Great dude. Couldn't be happier for someone other than myself. So it's really good to see. But shout out Coach S for picking up the Millie last night. And shout out to Coach S for the 53% sim ROI. That wasn't the winning lineup, but he had the number 1 ROI lineup in the Millie pre-lock, the number 4 lineup in the Millie pre-lock, and then he had the actual winner. What is that? Top 10, 15, something like that. Coach S all over it yesterday. All over it. So now I've got my sim running. Let's talk about the slate and what we have ahead of us for the rest of the day. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter. And I'm going to give a shout out to me right now. I'm pretty excited about this morning. Been working out a lot more lately, off the sauce until the end of September. So I'm feeling really good. Dropped a bunch of LBs. So much so that my Kelly Kapowski shirt fits again. I can get into this bad boy. So shout out to everybody's favorite Kelly Kapowski. I'm very happy to have her back in my life because this shirt was not available to me 2 months ago because I was a fat ass. Did he somehow win it without Schwarber? Maybe. That's not as surprising in the Millie, but I didn't actually look at that. So let me pull it up quick. No, he had Schwarber. Detmers, Freeland, Real Muto, Harper, Stott, Suarez, Trey Turner, Schwarber, Julio Rodriguez, Randall Grichuk. And he won going away. I mean, he won by 10 points. Now, granted, that could have been, one at bat late. I don't know how it shook out, but how do I watch Liverpool without some brews? I was actually just talking about that right now. It's been hard. So opening day was a struggle, but it wasn't so bad because it was Ipswich. So we're not as rowdy. I missed game 2 because I was back home for the funeral. So it wasn't so bad because I watched it by myself. This past week against Man U, I mean, we had 100 people in the bar. It was we get a really good crew. Actually, can I? This is what we've got going. Not that anybody cares about this, but it's really hard to not have beers in this environment. Beating Manchester United in a packed bar. Everybody going nuts. But, yeah. So I've got 3 more weeks. Then I'm back on the sauce. Not that I'm going to be on the sauce, but I have till the 27th of September before I'm back on. So 3 weeks. Anyway, let's talk baseball now. I'm going to grab the top pitchers and top stacks tool from Stochastic. So that way we have 2 anchor points so we can compare it to mine as well. There we go. Perfect. Now we're in. All right, so let's look through the stacks. I've got my Sims running. Actually, that's probably done. Oh, pretty close. So let's talk about stacks. And the number 1 stack today with a giant bullet is the Dodgers. Stochastic top stacks tool has the Dodgers in at 17.5% number 1. I actually have it at 22% right now. We'll see where that ends up. 6.4 run implied total is more than a half run above the Braves. Griffin Canning on the opposite side, not something you're super worried about. What do we have for weather today? Absolutely no negative weather. However, we're looking at 87 to 90 degrees at first pitch for Dodgers Angels. That is aggressively good hitting weather. Guys like Ohtani, Freeman, Gavin Lux, Max Muncy. If you get those lefties, man, baby, that is going to look good. But, it's also the Dodgers. The interesting piece about the Dodgers today, though, 7th in top value in the Stochastic tool, 5th in value for me. Even if you want to call it 1st and 6th, we're on the same page. Now, they are heavily owned, 16%. You can make a case that that's probably a hair too high, although really it's just Ohtani, and that's a conversation for a different day. If I end up with the Dodgers, I'm not going to be mad. My guess, based on the way that I build out lineups, is that I am under the field, but have 8 to 9% in the aggregate, and I'm using them as a lot of one-offs, 2-mans, and 3-mans. But if you're looking at the Dodgers today, don't regret it because they look fantastic. As we look at then the Braves, who are the number 2 stack. I mean, think about this. I have the Dodgers' chances of being the top stack at 22%. The next closest team is the Braves at 10. Now, we have the Braves at 9.1. I have it at 10.4. Same ranking. second for both. We have the Braves third in value. I have them first. They only have 2 guys north of 5K. Now, it's the same sort of like unappealing outfield stack right now, but whatever a Bradley Blaylock is on the opposite side for the Rockies is not anybody we're worried about in any way whatsoever. You don't get any leverage from the Blaylock side, but it's going to be really hard to not want to roster the Braves because they are as cost efficient as a team could be. And then I've got 2 teams at 8%, anxious to see which one Stochastic prefers. Okay, so the Royals are 5th. I have them 3rd. I'm much higher on the Royals. Not a big Ben Lively proponent. Royals with a decent run total. Unfortunately, they're at home. I generally prefer to get a road team since you're locking that in, but it's not something like I want that in my mind. It's not something that I do to get that. But you just have more plate appearances for the road team. You can see it right here. Tommy Pham projected for 4.6 plate appearances in the leadoff spot. Steven Kwan's at 4.7. 4.6 for Jimenez in the 2-hole. 4.4 for Bobby Witt. You just get a little bit more out of the road teams. The only thing that I hate about Kansas City is the park. It's just so bad for lefty power. And when you're facing a righty, that's just limiting. It's just a little bit more limiting. But they're 3rd in ownership. They're cost effective. I get why they're 3rd for me. I understand why they're 5th for us, which means I'm guessing the Yankees are 3rd on Stochastic. And they are. I have them 4th. So in and around the same area for everybody. Now, the Yankees are aggressively expensive. This is sort of like the Orioles from 2 days ago, I guess. We have them 19th in value. I have them 16th, but it's 2%. It's the same number, essentially. Judge and Soto, both well north of 6K. Stanton and Chisholm north of 5K. You do get Glaber potentially in the leadoff spot, which helps because then you could lock off a second baseman. Eovaldi on the other side. So, not the best situation there. The Yankees are probably the team that when we get into the single lineup generator, we could probably build out a really nice sim ROI. That's the team that I kind of want to put a pin in. Okay, my sim is done, so I could hit step 2. But the Yankees are going to be the team where it's just like they're not going to naturally come up. But when you build a Yankees lineup, I think you're going to be able to build a really good one because they're hard to get to. I mean, the highest owned guy on the Yankees in this spot is Aaron Judge, and it's 8%. I mean, Juan Soto, lefty righty, even in a decent enough park for lefties, is 6% owned. Interesting stuff. So let's look through the first couple top teams on the hitting side. From a pitching perspective, ownership is coming in heaviest on Charlie Morton, 8,200. And let me make that bigger so you guys can see it. It'll have my exposures in shortly. 8,200 for Charlie Morton, 40% owned. Probably a hair too much if you're asking me, but I also have him projected as the best pitcher on today's slate. So do we. Stochastic has Charlie Morton by 1.35. No, sorry. Yeah, 1.35 fantasy points over Sonny Gray. I have it basically the same. We have him at 18.8. I have him at 18.7. We have Morton at 20.15. I have him at 20.4. So we're in lockstep there. We have Imanaga 3rd and Gallen 4th. I have George Kirby 3rd. No, sorry. I have Imanaga 3rd and then Kirby 4th. I have Kirby about 0.8 of a point ahead of Zach Gallen. So I'm a little bit heavier on Kirby. Yeah, okay. Steven, let's look at that. So for Morton, doesn't give up power to lefties, does give it up to righties. So Steven, you are right. He does have reverse splits. It's not as it's more for a power thing more than anything else. I mean, 343 Woba, ex-Woba against righties isn't ideal. It's better against lefties, but that gap isn't as big. If you look at just this year, it's basically the same ex-Woba, but it's the power problems against righties. So if we want to take a peek at that, what the hell? All right. I guess I'll make it smaller by going like this. So let's look at this lineup that they're about to trot out. So that's game 7. So you're looking at, good spot for Morton against Blackman, McMahon, Nolan Jones, Toglia, Drew Romo. It's probably like the Tovar, Brenton Doyle. That's about it range. I mean, all told, it's a good. I mean, the Rockies strike out so much. So much. If we look at the active roster for the Rockies against right-handed pitching, third in K rate against righties, 26.5%. They are 20th in walk rate. And if we just want to talk about talent, 28th in WRC plus at 89. This, much like yesterday, we shouldn't be surprised to see that the best pitcher on the slate is whoever Atlanta is throwing against shite Colorado team. But then you have this blurry next tier. 19% ownership to Zach Gallen. 18% ownership to George Kirby. 17% ownership to Imanaga. 16 to Hayden Birdsong. 14 to Tyler McGill. 14 to Sonny Gray. Another 10 to Yu Darvish. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 guys in the 10 to 19 range. And that's going to be the area that's, I think, most important. Because I think it's very clear that Morton's your best option because of his salary. The fact that he's 8,200, you're fitting him in anywhere. After that, you have options up and down the line. You have 4 dudes more expensive than Charlie Morton. Gallen basically the same price, but then you get Kirby, Imanaga, and Gray in the 9s. You get Tyler McGill in the 7K range. You get Hayden Birdsong at 6K. So you really, this is a lot different than yesterday where it was Sale and then it felt like we didn't have any other really good value. Now we have people up and down the line, and that says nothing for like Bobby Miller at 7,300 that should probably have comparable ownership to Tyler McGill, but doesn't. That says nothing for Tanner Houck, who's just going to get fully slept on at 8,500. So we've got some options coming in. My sim is just about done, so we're going to be able to talk about my exposures in a second. Let's take it back to hitting, though, guys. What do you guys have your eye on today? Where are you guys looking that's off the beaten path? I understand people are going to like the Dodgers. I understand people are going to like the Braves. They're the overwhelming top 2 owned teams. Dodgers coming in 14% in the aggregate. Braves are coming in at 9. Everybody else is 6 or below. So basically, outside of the Dodgers and Braves, you're going to be pretty unique with whatever stack you take. So what do you guys like? That's the important piece here. Before you guys let me know what you like, we got to talk about what's going on at Stochastic for the rest of the day. And the biggest thing that's going on, NFL Strategy Show is coming up next, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You are getting the big old breakdown of NFL games. I honestly don't know what the Wednesday show is. Maybe one of my boys is in chat right now, but you're going to get a massive breakdown of this upcoming NFL slate for today. Tomorrow, we kick it all off with showdown shows, showdown content, the first game of the NFL season, same situation on Friday, and then we get the big one on Sunday. We have an unlimited supply of content for you guys on the NFL side. I'm not going anywhere for MLB. You're still getting MLB live before locks later tonight, so that isn't stopping. MLB is here to stay for the rest of September, but I know you guys love the NFL. and you get a big old NFL show today. Believe it's Laffy and Ben. I'm going to double check that for you guys so you know. You guys were out in droves yesterday watching that one, which makes me happy to see. Fluffy and Greg today. I think they're going to be building lineups now that I see that. So make sure you're watching Laffy and Greg. Laffy is a walking hard on with the NFL back. That's me when it gets to October, man. I'm walking around chiseling walls out that I bump into. Unfortunately, when I bump into those walls, it's my nose, and it's not below the waist. The nose gets there first, which sucks. All right. Jorge, you want to look at the Cubs against Herman? Works for me. And my sim is done. So let me run my lineup selector. Done. So let's find out what I have, and then we can dig into the Cubs. Maybe I have the Cubs. That'd be fun, right? Make this a lot easier. A lot of Charlie Morton in that list, that's for sure. All right. 50 lineups into the bat flip for today. Shorter field. I'm going to have to close this file and open it back up again. When I refresh these tables, it's just going to be a giant white block. I'm going to save it first, actually. It's always smart. There we go. Oh, it didn't break. That's always good. That's always good. All right, here's what we've got for today. I do have a little bit of the Cubs, but it's Giant Royals stand, Giant Guardians stand, 2x Cardinals, 2x Rangers, half the field of the Dodgers like we expected, a little bit of the Mariners. I am getting to the Braves, though. Now, Bob, I'm only playing 50, not 150. Sort of depends on the contest, sort of depends on how I'm grading out and how I'm running. Jorge, sexy Python script. Shout out ChatGPT, which built everything I do. So let's look at the Cubs first, since that was the shout, and then we'll dig in a little bit further. Domingo Herman on the opposite side. Herman. Ooh, too big. There we go. So Herman obviously hasn't been around too much so far this year. What was that, 100? He definitely has not thrown that many pitches this year. Yeah, 161 against lefties this year, 155 against righties. Has it gone well against righties? No, but that's a pretty small sample. If you add in last year, you get up to around 2,000 pitches. K rate's decent. Power problems for sure. He can generate swinging strikes last year. Whether he does this year is a different conversation. If we look at weather, 74 degrees at first pitch, no real wind. I've got a lot of positive leverage at the top of this lineup. Hap, Bush, Suzuki, Cody Bellinger. I'm getting 10% of Swanson, Paredes, Suzuki, and Hap. That all looks fine. I would like to get more Cody Bellinger. He grades out really well for me. But ultimately, 4.5% ownership coming into the Cubs. I have 7. I'm happy with the stand. I like it against Herman. The only real downside is the park. It is a little limiting to lefty power. And you're not getting any leverage off of Herman. But I don't have any problem getting to the Cubs. They look good. I mean, they look no different than the Royals, the Guardians, the Cardinals, the Rangers, the teams that I'm getting to. I just didn't happen to get to them. But I don't mind the Cubs shout. Let's see. Ice Through says Brewers and Yankees. Well, I'm happy to look at the Brewers because I have 0 of them. So that should be a fun conversation point. Sonny Gray on the opposite side. Ice Through, what you seeing here? Now, don't get me wrong. I agree that the park looks good. And honestly, a 4-run implied total for the Brewers is probably a little bit better than I expected against Sonny Gray. They're cheap as shit. $5K for Contreras, but you knock off a catcher. Turang, Churio, Adames, second outfield short. You don't mind paying in the mid fours. I certainly think that Turang and Churio are a bit under-owned. Now, I don't have a single share of anybody here. These guys are a straight zero for me. If you would honestly need like a little bit more ownership going to Sonny Gray for me to like this a little bit more. The power potential is there. That I can't disagree with. But I would be very, very surprised if I get to the Brewers. They're 15th in top stack for us, 14th for me. So that one I don't see. Now, I don't have the Yankees. That's a very different conversation point because we know why the Yankees aren't showing up. Eovaldi is... Let's look at this. What do we actually see for the Yanks? Like, Eovaldi just doesn't give it up. Gives up a little bit more to lefties from a power perspective, but we're talking about a 14% swinging strike rate, no matter what year we're looking at. 305 x WOBA to both hands, basically. Now, he's really limited righties this year and has been average against lefties. I like the Yankees on paper way more than they're showing up here. It's actually probably going to be the team that we're going to build out in a couple minutes when we pull up the single lineup tool. I think that they're just incredibly problematic to build. Let me pull up something here. Got it. Okay. So let's see. That was... We hit the Cubs, we hit the Brewers, we hit the Yankees. I'm going to take a look at the exposures that I'm actually getting. Let's do this first. Pitching. 92% Charlie Morton. I'm fine with that. I had a full lock button on Chris Sale yesterday. Happy to run it back with Morton. That's how bad the Rockies are. 40% of Zach Gallen, though. I'm not surprised to see that. I think he's a little under-owned. And then we're really locking in an $8,300 average price in a lot of lineups. We get to George Kirby. We get to a bit of Imanaga. We have a tiny bit of Sonny Gray. Neutral on McGill. Little light on Hayden Birdsong, but I don't mind that at all. Morton plus everybody else. So Royals Guardians is the game that I have. 36% of the game overall. 12 is being projected. I'm 2.5xing the Guardians and 3xing the Royals. This appears to be my spot. I've been getting Andre Jimenez every day aggressively. It's not changing again today. $3,900 second baseman. Love it. Lugo on one side, Lively on the other. Definitely prefer, getting against Ben Lively here. But I have a lot of this game. 24% Bo Naylor. 24% Bobby Witt, 26% Melendez, 20% Kyle Isbell. Trying to buy lefty power, it appears. Or the top of the order, where I have Tommy Pham and Bobby Witt as Tommy Pham, Bobby Witt, Stephen Kwan. The leadoff hitters or the top hitters in this game, to me, are massively underrated today. That's about as big of a leverage number as I have. Just out of curiosity, who do I have as the number one plays for today? So, salary included, it's Ohtani lapping the field even at 7K. That's why you see him at 27% owned. Michael Harris, to me, is the second best bat you can get relative to salary. If he's hitting leadoff at 3,900 against this Rockies team, you should want to have a lot of Michael Harris. And I do. Twice the field. Tommy Pham, certainly under-owned to me as well. Michael, good stuff, man. You beat me. I finished 7th. Was that in the relay throw? Were you one spot ahead of me? Or is it a different contest? Either way, 7th is awesome. Unless there were only 7 people in your contest, at which point it probably doesn't carry the same weight as you would like it to. But it's a top 10 nonetheless. All right, if we want to say salary agnostic, Michael Harris drops a little bit. Ohtani, Betts, Judge, top 3 plays for today. I have 6 guys 10% boom or higher. Ohtani, Betts, Judge, Harris, Teoscar, and Marcelo Zuna. All right, Michael. Nice. Good stuff, man. Love to see it. Love to see it. So Guardians Royals is the game that I'm cornering the market on. And I'm not mad about it at that ownership. Cardinals are 2xing the field. A lot of that is Nolan Arenado. I bet him to homer yesterday, and he didn't. This is probably the team I have the biggest gap on compared to Stochastic. You've got Colin Ray on the opposite side. How does this profile? Colin Ray gives up massive power against lefties over the past 2 years and this year. In 1,200 pitches, 200x ISO, 357x WOBA, can't generate a swinging strike to save his life. It's not even that much better against righties, but it is better. So we're talking about best lefties for the Cardinals. I'm getting Burleson. I'm 2xing Nootbaar. I have some Brendan Donovan. Obviously, Arenado is a right-handed hitter, but you're getting a 4K third baseman. Park plays up power to both hands. Love the idea of getting to the Cardinals. Rangers against Stroman. Don't mind that at all. Josh Jung homered yesterday. Adolis Garcia, Seager, Semien. The 4 guys that I have in double digits are the 4 guys I would probably want to have in double digits in this spot. Nate Lowe probably should be, but 8% will work. Number 1 value stack per Stochastic. I only have it 8th. Giant gap here. However, only 5,500 for Seager. Everybody else 5K or below. I like every team I got. I absolutely do. All right. Aaron Lilly says, any Red Sox today? Literally 0 against McGill. I don't have a single share. Now, this is another giant gap between where I'm at and where Stochastic is at. 5.6% top stack odds for the Sox. I have it at 3.4, and I have them 11th, which is basically middle of the pack today. So they don't appear to be a team that I'm getting to. Tyler O'Neill, though, most under-owned guy for the Red Sox. That'd be the guy that I'd be trying to get to. So I think Brandon Marsh will homer today. That's a different show. We could look. So for the early game. Okay. Lefty righty against Bowden Francis. Park is fine. Tune in to Odd Shopper Live, I guess. Let's see. Where do I have Brandon Marsh odds of homer today? Oh, I have that filtered. Those are the best plays. Tatis sneaks in. Oh, why are the pitchers there? Let's take that out. There we go. All right. Where's Marsh? Oh, he's not on the slate. No wonder. Put everybody in. So of everybody that plays today, does that show up? It does. Marsh is sitting pretty low. Of all the people that could homer today, I think Brandon Marsh is... Now, lines matter, obviously, but I have him 168th of what? 270 today? 280 today. Oh, that is pitchers in it for reasons I don't understand. But yeah, not likely. Not likely. But we will look at those betting lines on Odd Shopper Live today at noon. One final thing we got to plug before we build some lineups. And that's the NFL package, folks. You guys see it on the screen right now. 1, go follow Stochastic_com on Twitter. And then follow me at Josh Engleman. That should be very easy to do. I imagine everybody that watches this show is probably interested in the NFL. If you want to get our NFL package, honestly, today is the best day to do it. If you want to do it tomorrow morning, go for it. However, $1 for light or core subscriptions at Stochastic. This covers everything. Pre-contest sim, which I talked about at the beginning here for the MLB side. Contest generator, projections, ownership, single lineup sim. You're getting access to a bit of everything here. All the data on the back end. And it's not just for main slates. You'll have everything for Showdown tomorrow. Showdown on Friday. All of the stuff going on Sunday. double Monday night games. You're getting locked and loaded with so much for $1. If you hate it, if it's not for you after a week, just cancel. You're out $1. You don't have to stick around if you don't want to. I think you're going to want to. I think you're going to get your hands on our single lineup tool, which we're about to use for the NFL or for the MLB side. You're going to use that for the NFL and think, where has this been my entire life? I personally think it's the best thing we've ever done at Stochastic. I've been here for 6.5 years. That single lineup tool is the best thing we've ever put out. You get the best of both worlds, because if you want a specific build, you can go to those guys and do whatever you can do to build out a positive ROI lineup around it. And you have all of the information at your fingertips. You can be hands-on and get the benefit of sims. This doesn't have to be a bulk entry thing for you anymore, especially in the NFL, where the single entry and 3 max contests are massive for payout structures. You can win a lot of money, and you don't have to be max entering anything on the NFL side. If you want to be hands-on with your lineups, this is absolutely what you should be doing for the first week. And again, you're not locked into anything. If you find that you don't like the tools after 2 showdown slates, a full NFL slate, and then 2 more showdowns / a 2-gamer for Monday Night Football, you've probably dipped your toe in the water and you don't like it. That's fine. You're out for $1. I think you're going to love it and you're going to stick around. There's a link in the description of this video if you want to sign up for it. Click it. It'll take you right there and you can sign up. If you're just browsing around on Stochastic and you try to check out, use the promo code KICKOFF. That will get you the access for $1. Alrighty, folks. Are we ready to build some lineups? Bob, if you want to send an email, you could probably get that corrected. Send an email to support@stochastic.com. We can get that fixed for you. Alrighty. Time to build. Y'all ready? Well, I am. Large contest, 25 to first. And I'm letting you guys know right now, we're building out the Yankees. I want to see what we can create out of a Yankees lineup. I think it's the most interesting thing to do, because there's just so little ownership coming into the Yanks right now. So I'm going to filter down to this Yankees-Rangers game. And honestly, I kind of like the idea of having the Rangers on the opposite side, considering I do have them stacked and they're pretty cheap. So I think we want to look to lefties before we do anything. So I'm going to get Soto. I'm going to get a $4,200. Well, I was going to get a $4,200 Austin Wells. We've got Trevino in. That's fine. Let's use Trevino, even cheaper. We're going to try to get Jazz Chisholm. No, we're not. No, we're not. Not in the lineup. Maybe we could do a cheap Rizzo. Also not in the lineup. All right, let's try this again. Now Jazz Chisholm is showing up because I think I had my filter incorrectly set. So I guess we want to go to Glaber if we're going to get the leadoff spot at 4,100. And then let's just try it with Judge and we'll see. Pitching. Best value pitchers in Stochastic. Birdsong. Let's go Birdsong since he's getting a little bit of love. Let's try it with Birdsong and Charlie Morton and see what we can adjust there. Because I think we might be able to turn Morton into Gallen and really cut that ownership if we need it. So that's a 5-man Yankees, Birdsong and Morton. We have 3,200 for a first baseman, a shortstop, and an outfielder. Just out of curiosity, what can we get done out of Texas with that profile? We can go Ezekiel Duran at first. Seager is probably going to be a tough sell here. Yeah, that's impossible. So shortstop might just have to be a one-off, or we end up having to flip something around to go to Volpe. Outfield is easy to fill. So let's get Wyatt Langford. And now we have 3,500 for any shortstop. Highest projected shortstop is Perdomo. Now we have Birdsong, so we can't go there. We do have Charlie Morton, which allows us to go to Orlando Arcia. That leaves $400. Let's find out how we look. $65.1. Sorry, I got a text message, so I was checking it out. Holy shit, guys. How bad was Laffy holding me down on this show? Because I am amazing at this. Some might argue the best individual hand builder that has ever existed. I would argue it, at least. Let's run the full slate and figure out where that stands. If this is top 5, I'm just going to sign off the show and never come back. I'm too good at this. I'm way, way, way too good at this. Could you imagine if I was this good at it for myself? That would be amazing. Can you imagine if they paid out sim ROI? Shit, I'd be a billionaire. I'm really curious to see where this stands in relationship to everything else. But I think the moral of this story is that this show did not need Dave Loughran in any way. So you're lucky you get him on the NFL show now, because I run the MLB streets. All right. Player pool is generated. Let's simulate the lineups. 25% to first. Same shit. Let's figure out where we stand. But 65.1. Remember 65.1. Let me sort of bookmark that. I just want to see what happens if we take out Morton and put in Gallen. Does the ownership difference make up for the reduction in fantasy points? So while that runs in the background, we'll finish off this one. I'm going to do this again because I'm not really sure what happened there. I'm just going to move that tab over so it continues to run while we hop back in here. Okay, so down to 34.5 by going to Gallen. So let's keep Charlie Morton in there for right now. Can we do anything better than... I don't think we could do anything better than Birdsong. That seems impossible. Yeah, it's got to be Birdsong. But I'm not confident we can do anything to make this any better. All right, so that bad boy is running in the background. This is still running here. Riggs and Bob the Builder. Specifically for NFL early, like, multiple days before, you're going to see more extreme ROI numbers the further you are away from lock, because ownership at that point is least efficient. So as that all balances out, as the rest of the industry starts coming to a bit more of a consensus, then you see the ROI start to come down a little bit because the information is getting a lot better. The outliers exist in a much bigger way on a Tuesday than they will on a Sunday morning. But there's a lot of soft money in the NFL in comparison to what we're going to see in MLB. So you should also be seeing, in my expectation at least, you should be seeing higher sim ROI numbers on the NFL side than I think you'll see in the MLB side. That's a hypothesis, not a truth. All right. Let's hope that when this is finished running, that all of those results are there this time. Otherwise, I'm not going to know. All right. We want the number one lineup to be 64.9. And the one we built individually, numero uno. That's the goal. I think we're going to get one in like the 70s and 80s. Yeah. All right. So we didn't really get to the tippy top. 103.3 is the best that we were able to get. That's an Arizona and Dodgers stack. But what is it? 65-1? 65-1 would be right here. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. What, we're looking at like the 15th or 16th best lineup manually off the dome. Guys, it reran to 103.3. We tied the toppy. I'm the best person in the world at using this tool. Holy shit, guys. You guys can sign up for this on the baseball side if you want to. Link in the description. Or maybe we should just put me on an NFL show where I only do this and show you guys how to build out the absolute nuts. I am a god of the single lineup sim. We got to build another one, right? We should leave on a high note. We're not going to do that. So who should be the other team we build? All right. I'm going to give you guys 4 choices. Cardinals, Guardians, Royals, Braves. Cardinals, Guardians, Royals, Braves. We're going to build one more, and then we're going to get out of here because we got to turn this one over to NFL Strategy Show coming up next. Then I got to put in a boatload of bets. Josh Engleman is the Chinese spy. I probably shouldn't say that. All right, Stephen Leibowitz says Cards. Aaron says Cleveland. William says Cards, which means we're going Cards. We got 2 votes. Sorry, Aaron. So let's get the Cardinals. Let's see how we do. All right. So, for the Cardinals, we're going to get Burleson. We're going to get... I got to get Nolan Arenado because he projects really, really well for me. I think we can get a really cheap Newt Bar. So that's 3. First, third, outfield. Looks like Brendan Donovan should be one of the plays. And then probably we can't go Goldie unless we move Burleson to the outfield. I don't want to go Jordan Walker, and I don't want to go Siani. I kind of want to go Mason Wynn, but I don't seem to get that guy right ever. All right, so we've got the hitting in, relatively cheap. Pitching, I'm going to go Morton again, and I'm going to go Birdsong again. You know what? No, I'm not. We're going to go Morton, and since we have St. Louis, I'm going to go Sonny Gray. That leaves us 4,100 for a catcher and 2 outfielders. Now, since we went Morton, can we go Atlanta and get Sean Murphy, Michael Harris, And then anybody for 4,800 at outfield. Highest projected outfielder at 4,800 or lower is Ian Happ, which would fit. Get him in a leadoff spot, low owned. Spends all but 100. Let's test it. How'd we do? NFL strategy show coming up in less than 10 minutes. You don't want to miss it. Same channel, different stream. So stay on Stochastic. All right. Yeah, well, 50.3. In no way am I mad about that. Just out of curiosity, if we keep the theme, we go to a slightly better play. Now, we give up a little bit of projection. We gain a little bit of ownership. But we do get a little bit more sync. And we turn that into a 5-3 and we go Soler. Does it improve? Does grabbing that extra piece of correlation and getting a third Brave beat out a slightly higher overall projection for Ian Happ? Yeah, I was going to say, my guess is that they're pretty similar. I actually think that getting rid of Sonny Gray is the move. Now, he's the most highly projected pitcher here, but we can give up a point, take on a little bit of ownership, grab $1,300 more dollars, get to 6,100 at the outfield spot, and turn it into Ozuna. Does that improve it? Final thing before we're getting out of here. Guys, thank you for being here. Meant a lot. Love having you guys. This was a fun show. I need to figure out a name for what I am here. The single lineup simulator czar. 54. Guys, I'm incredibly good at this. Incredibly good. Thank you guys for being here. We're back again tomorrow. Actually, what does the schedule look like tomorrow? 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I will likely be doing MLB Live Before Lock tomorrow from noon to 1. And we'll hit that 4-gamer. And then you'll have somebody later on in the night for whatever's happening late night, whether that's a 5-gamer or they split it. I'm guessing they'll go 5. But Live Before Lock tomorrow at noon. For now, folks, we done. Enjoy yourselves. Go watch the NFL show.